Hey everyone, welcome to Digitally Breaking Out, one of our sessions for our Building Engineers in K through 12 Classrooms conference. I'm going to walk you through the materials that I use to create digital breakouts, and I'm also going to show you my thought process when I create a breakout, and you're going to participate in a really quick 10-minute breakout. My name is Sarah Eiler. I am a digital integration facilitator for Moore County Schools. Our state title is Instructional Technology Facilitator, but here we like to think that we make a difference, so we call ourselves DIFs. My Twitter handle is there on the screen at Sarah_Lass, and my email address is there for you as well. Please feel free to send me an email if you have any questions. So what I've done as we go through our session is I've created a Padlet for you to respond with any questions that you may have, and I'll also ask you to respond throughout the session just to kind of keep that feeling as if we were doing a live session in place. So to go to the Padlet, you're just going to type in your search bar bit.ly/Eiler, EILER, Padlet. So if you want to go on and click on a new tab and get that open for me, we're going to respond in just a minute. So I found this quote from Scott Nicholson. He's kind of one of the fathers of breakout rooms that says, "Escape rooms create a moment of passion around specific topics that then can be used as the spark to then ignite interest and something for a player to learn more about later." So I like that he refers to the people participating as players because we do want our students to feel like they're playing a game. And what I normally use breakout rooms for is either to review, to reignite that passion before students take an assessment, or to get them interested in a new topic that's coming up. So if you'll navigate to the Padlet, you just want to add your name, your Twitter handle, and you may answer, why do you want to build a breakout game? So that is our first two columns on the Padlet. I am going to go to the Padlet really quick to show you how to respond. So I've already put my name and Twitter handle here, Sarah Eiler at Sarah_Lass, and I did add a little Bitmoji there because I'm loving my Bitmoji lately. So why do you want to build a breakout game? You can put your name as the title. I want to reignite my students' passion for a subject before we take an assessment. So you just click on the plus sign under the column and you'll be able to add your post to the column. So after you've added your two posts, we're going to move into experiencing a breakout. So I made a fun, just quick little 10-minute breakout that's Thanksgiving themed. So another bit.ly, there's only two, I promise, it's not too bad, is bit.ly/breaking out Tom the Turkey. So if you'll go type that in, it will take you to, so take a second to type it in. It will take you to a Thanksgiving breakout form. So this breakout I created to run all through the form just to make it a little bit easier on us. So our premise, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, is Tom the Turkey only has 10 minutes before he's sent to the White House as the official national Thanksgiving turkey. Solve each puzzle to create codes to unlock the 3 locks to help him escape his fate. Click on the link for each lock. Each link will take you to a different clue to help you figure out the code to unlock the lock. So you have to put in your first name, your last name, and your email address. I wanted you to put in your email address so that I could send you a follow-up session after the week ends, just to make sure you don't have any questions and to remind you of the resources that we talked about during our session. And then I click next, and here is our first lock. So each of the locks is linked. You'll see this lock is Thanksgiving by the numbers. Use the Google drawing linked under lock number 1. So here's my Google drawing. I click on the link to find the code to unlock the first lock. I have to type in my code exactly. So this one is going to be a number. So if I type in 200 and click next. It says still locked. Did you read the clue carefully? And subtract to find the number of years. So the clue is outlined on the Google Doc, or excuse me, the Google drawing when you click on the drawing there. So I'm going to set my 10-minute timer. You've got 10 minutes to try and make it through this 3-lock breakout. It's just on Thanksgiving fun. So it's not anything too content specific. So everyone should have a good time with it. Let me go to my timer here. And I'm going to press play. You've got 10 minutes. You've got about 2 minutes left. Hopefully you're on lock number 3. All right, and that's our time up. Hopefully you were able to make it through the 3 locks that were included in that little breakout. If you want to add feedback on participating in the breakout session, please take a second to go to the Padlet that I've put on there. There's a reminder of the bit.ly link, and under the feedback on participating in the breakout column, please click on the plus sign and add some feedback on what you thought about participating in that little breakout session. I tried to make it so that you could get through it in 10 minutes. Hopefully you could. So, planning your breakout. I wanted to talk to you guys about a few things. First of all, you'll need your content when you start your planning process. You'll need a theme or a backstory. So you noticed even in the little breakout that we just did, we did Tom the Turkey needs to escape, and you're trying to save Tom the Turkey from his fate of being the turkey for the White House Thanksgiving dinner. A format and puzzle ideas. So the format that we just used was I ran everything through the Google form. That might be easier for you. I also do a lot of breakouts using the form. You always have to use the form because it's what's locked and makes you go to the next puzzle once you have the correct answer to the lock, and then also puzzle ideas. So think about what you love. Do you love Harry Potter? Do you love Marvel? My husband is obsessed with all the Avengers movies. Do you love murder mystery? Do you like testing? Do you like World War II? Do you love Disney? And that's what we're talking about with our theme or our backstory. So it could be like, I've done one where Gru is trying to save the world. I've done ones where the Avengers are trying to save the world. I've done World War II themes where you're trying to escape from Hitler's clutches. Just whatever you think your students would be interested, what they would be excited about. And I've also linked you to some ideas there on the page here in front of you. What will they escape from, and how much time will they have? So you need to consider how much time you want the activity to take up. If you want it to take up 45 minutes, you might need to consider what type of resource you're going to be using. So I looked at the Ed Puzzle video. It was 3.5 minutes long. So that's automatically going to take up at least 3.5 minutes of your time. And then also you can look at what type of reading they're having to do. So how long do you think it would take your students to actually read that Pardoning the Turkey article? And then how much time would it take them to figure out the answer to that third lock once they have read the article? So all of those are things that you need to consider when you start creating your theme and your backstory for building your breakout. The format is another thing that you need to consider as you start your planning process. My example for Google Slides is linked here. So students would view each of these slides and enter their codes on the Google form. So you still use a Google form if you're using this Google Slides version, but each of the slides has the lock and the directions on it. So here we can see the image for lock number 1, and they have to read the poem and answer number 16 through 22, follow the line from number 1 to the matching question number. So they're going from letter 1 here, following this little dotted line up to question number 20 is going to be the first letter in their code. And then they are still answering, like I said, putting in all of those codes on this Google form. So they still have to fill out a Google form either way. But then we've also got, just like y'all did during our little preview breakout, was students are viewing this form. So this one I did help Gru save Agnes. And they're entering their first and last name. And just like the one that we did earlier, all of our locks are included on the Google form. I always put them in a separate section, and I'll talk to you about that, remind you about that in a minute, because I like for students to have to complete one lock before being able to view the next lock. So I like to kind of break it down into these different sections. So I also have a symboloo that I created when I presented on breakouts for NC Ties of the puzzle ideas that I like. So if you click on that link for the puzzle ideas symboloo, it's going to take you to my web mix that uses the that shows you, the different websites that I use to create my locks. Oh, it took a second to load there. So you've got on the left all of these breakout resources. There's a YouTube video showing you how to create your Google form. Of course, I'm getting an ad because it would be too convenient to not get one right now. The Breakout EDU Sandbox. So that's a link actually to Breakout's free digital breakouts from the actual Breakout EDU system. And then for digital breakouts. And then all of these on the right side around our Google search are the different puzzle tools that I like to use. So I'll show you my 3 favorite ones in just a few minutes. Here's my 3 favorites. I've got multiple choice. So I love using this Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 question. This is great because I have a lot of teachers that want to use breakouts at the end of the year for review before they take any final exams for their class. And so what we'll do is we'll just put a text box over the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and we can change those numbers and even use past released EOG items. You just have to find 4 multiple choice questions. So it could be tests that you already use. It could be, like I said, released EOG items. Use that image that's there below. Students follow the line and match their answer to answer order in the code. So they would just follow that line there to the question number that you want to be that letter in the code. You can always use more than 4 questions. I try to use just 4 questions, but sometimes, when you're reading those when you're using those EOG reading passages, they might have a reading passage with 6 questions, and then you can just choose 4 of the questions and put the numbers there. Another one of my favorite puzzles is this directional lock. It works really well with vocabulary, with readings, and multiple choice as well. So you create a copy of the Google Doc, which I have linked on the words directional lock there. Students write down the direction they move to answer each numbered clue. So if you click on directional lock, it's going to actually take you out to the lock. This is one that we created for 4th grade for social studies when they study a lot of North Carolina history. There's a little pamphlet that the teacher always used to teach this early North Carolina history, and she wanted to just make it a little bit more exciting. So as they read the little booklet, they answer the questions in this breakout session. So my directions here say, start at the orange, you are here square each time. Use this direction key to determine the correct answer path. So the first clue is, how did farming change the lives of early people? We start at our orange square. I look for the answer to that question. I'm either going to go up, left, down, or right. And I make sure that in these diagonal corners where I would have to go like left and down, I never put the correct answer in one of those squares. So there's never a question for students whether or not they need to go down to the corner. So people settled in villages once they learned how to farm, I think would be a good way that they changed the lives of early people. So that is left. So I would write down an L for my first letter to unlock my lock. So you can share that where it forces the students to make a copy so that they can write their letters on the Google Doc. Or what I normally do is I just have them get out a scrap sheet of paper to write all of their clues on as they're going through. So that way, if you run out of time at the end of class, they still have their clues written down from the day before. And if they have to restart the Google form the next day, they aren't upset that they lost all of their answers. And then my third favorite is from Discovery Education. It is something called Puzzle Maker. So this will link us to our Puzzle Maker. You can create a word search, a crossword, a hidden message puzzle, etc. It's free. And then you also have a printed clue. So if you're in the classroom or you're one of these blended classrooms like we have in our district right now, you can have a printed clue, and that makes it really convenient for them to have a place where they can answer that one lock's clue in the puzzle. And they can also write down all of their codes for the day so that if they don't finish during that class period, they can still type them all in tomorrow. So you'll see you've got word search, crisscross, which is crossword, double puzzles, fallen phrases, math squares, mazes, letter tiles, cryptograms, number blocks, and hidden message. I like using the hidden message because I just love a word search. I grew up doing those in the car on the way to our vacations. And so you can do the hidden message. The cryptogram also works really well. What I'll do sometimes is I'll print it and then circle the letters that I want them to use to make a word to unlock that lock out of those clues. So those are my 3 favorites. I'd say the ones that I always include when I'm making a first time breakout with a teacher is either this multiple choice or the directional lock. They are hard for students, but I've done them like even with, especially this multiple choice lock, even as low as 2nd grade. And we made one even for 1st grade. So they are capable of doing it. You will, however, have to give them, especially if you're doing this remotely, some type of video kind of explaining how they're looking at the lock and how to follow those clues. All right, so I want you to scoot on over to that Padlet again and answer the question, how will you build your breakout? So what do you think your premise is going to be? What do you really love? What do your students really love? What's the format going to be? So are you going to use Google Slides? Are you going to use a Google form? And then the number of locks. So remember, we're considering the amount of time that it would take for us to do those locks as students in the classroom, and also the and also the format. So make sure you scoot on over to the Padlet and answer that question for us. All right. So once you have responded on the Padlet, I wanted to talk to you guys about some modifications for remote learning. So stick with me. I promise I am going to explain how I built that little Thanksgiving Tom the Turkey breakout, but I do want to talk to you about something that's very real to us right now, and that is remote learning. So what I think are the most important things for you to consider for remote learning are time limits, sharing, SEL, which we've all heard a bunch during quarantine and even now, which is, anybody say it? Did you say it out loud? Social and emotional learning, sections, and screenshots. So for time limits, I want you to consider, are you doing this together as a class, or are you doing this separately? So you might not even have to set a time limit if you're going to do it asynchronously. You might want to have a Google Meet as a class, or a Zoom if you're a district that uses Zoom. We're a Google Meet district here. So you might want to hold a Google Meet as a class and have everybody complete it during the Google Meet. You might need to use a timer. So I know it was probably annoying to hear my little background music for my 10-minute timer, but I wanted you to kind of get the experience with the timer for the first time that you did our little miniature breakout. As far as sharing goes, you have seen that I've used 2 bit.lys in this session, and I have also hyperlinked all of our puzzles on the Google form. So are you going to just give them a bit.ly? Are you going to share through Seesaw? Are you going to share through Google Classroom? Are you a school that's using Canvas? So consider how you're going to share out your breakout with your students. When we're talking about sharing, that also goes back to our formatting. If you're maybe doing this as a 1st grade or 2nd grade teacher, it might be easier for everything to just be linked in the Google form like the breakout that we did, so that your little ones aren't having to go to multiple websites with the assistant of their parent or guardian to complete the breakout. So consider how you're going to share it out and how students are going to complete the breakout when you're talking about sharing. Social emotional learning. I love that breakouts still give students a chance to collaborate. So now that Google Meet has released that awesome breakout room feature, you might want to consider breaking out students into groups of 4 to work out on the breakout. So you could set up breakout rooms and go on and have them go into the breakout rooms to collaborate with each other. There's also lots of back channel chat ideas. So even the tool that we used for our back channel chat during the session, Padlet, you could set up a Padlet as a back channel chat for students to talk to each other as they complete the breakout. I've actually even seen parents doing that within Google Classroom. So as teachers are assigning things through Google Classroom, I have seen parents commenting on the Google Classroom post to try and get help from each other for how to complete the activity with our Connect Academy for remote learning. So you could even have a little post on your Google Classroom where you ask people to submit any questions that they might have so that you can answer them. And then if anybody else has the same question, it's already somewhere in writing. Sections, add a section by clicking the equal sign on the form. We'll discuss this again in a minute when I show you how I set up my form. Require students to open a lock before going to the next session. I've already told you that I love sectioning off and making sure that they are required to answer that lock before they go to the next section. Screenshots, have students screenshot their form once they have submitted. So one of the things that I have battled with my teachers this year, not with my teachers as in battled with them, but one of the things that we have come up against is students saying that they submitted the form and it somehow magically never got submitted. If that happens a lot with you and your students, a lot of times it might just be that their internet went out for a second when they click submit, and then they went away from the form and all of their answers disappeared. We have no clue sometimes why it happens. A lot of times I think they might not have done it and are just looking for an excuse, but that's what I would have done if I was one of these kids in remote learning. So have students screenshot their form once they have submitted. That will get rid of any of those questions of whether or not they submitted their breakout form. Also, even though you're doing remote learning, it doesn't mean you can't use paper and pencil. So I would recommend having them write down all of those codes with paper and pencil. And then if their form doesn't submit, they can easily go right back to the form and just type in the codes again without having to go through the entire process of the breakout. You can also have them take a selfie if you're worried about sharing screenshots. So if you think that Sarah might take a screenshot and share it with Kelly, and you're worried that they'll both be submitting the same screenshot and you don't know the difference, you could have them put their face next to their Google form and take a picture with their face in their Google form just to make sure that they aren't cheating. So I'd like for you to go to the Padlet, because we're trying to kind of break to reflect on our learning today and answer the question, how will you modify for remote learning? So if you've had an issue with the kids missubmitting their Google form, how are you going to address that and make sure that students can submit their Google form? So this is often people's favorite part because we don't like it reinventing the wheel as teachers. But I have a lot of breakout examples that we have created either here in Moore County or that I created in my old job as a professional development consultant with Discovery Education. Some may need to be modified for remote learning. So I'm not promising that all of them are perfect for remote learning, but we have an example for many grade levels of a breakout. If you're looking for something specific, it might be something that I've created in the recent past that just didn't get included on these slides. So just send me an email. I've also made a lot of breakouts for faculty. So if you're an instructional coach or a fellow technology facilitator and you just want something fun for your faculty to complete, also shoot me an email about that, because I probably have a breakout for teachers to do that's just a little bit teacher fun as well. On this first slide, you'll see our first through third grade examples. I've got first grade ELA, second grade ELA and social studies, third grade ELA and math. I've got examples for fourth grade social studies, math and ELA, fifth grade math and science, and sixth grade social studies and science. And then we've got seventh grade science, social studies and ELA, and then eighth grade science. And then I've got a few high school courses. Keep in mind that right now I am a kindergarten through eighth grade diff, so I don't have as many high school courses under my roster, but as a former world history teacher for a high school in Raleigh, if you need help building a high school one, please just let me know. I've got some Math 1 ones on here, a geometry, and a couple of electives listed. So what I wanted to take the last few minutes of our session to do is to show you how I built the Thanksgiving breakout that you participated in. Please write down any questions that you may have as I go through the live build. I'm happy to answer via email. All right, so here is our Thanksgiving breakout form. It's my editable version. So what I did was I just used one of these pre-provided, I guess you could say, Google form templates. So to customize your theme, up here, you're going to click on your little painter's palette. And then where it says header, I actually just clicked choose image. I typically like the illustrations, especially if I'm doing something that's seasonal. And then I just picked my little turkeys here and I clicked insert. That's it. So simple. It changes all the colors for you. You don't have to do anything else. Here I did in my section 1, I inserted a question just like this. And my question was, I've got 3 different questions. Enter your first name, enter your last name, enter your email address. And then here I've got my title and description. So if it doesn't automatically have that, which it should, you can click on the TT on the side there. And I typed in my title and my description for the Thanksgiving breakout. Now, if you are ready to add a section, you click on the equal sign on the right side here, add section. Okay. And then it gives you your untitled section. I'm going to delete that because I already have my section. And then here, I always just change it to say, go to section 2, Thanksgiving by the numbers, which kind of gives the person filling out the form a preview of what the next section is. So section 2, this is my first section with an actual lock in it. So to create this, I thought I might want to use, I saw there was a lot of cool little like Thanksgiving infographics. So what I did was I actually just searched Thanksgiving facts. And then I selected images here. And then I actually ended up just using this first one. So I clicked on that. I right-clicked on my picture. I saved the image as, and I always save stuff to my desktop just so that I have it like right there at a fingertips. And then I saved it as Thanksgiving by the numbers. Save. I'm going to replace it. Okay, and then I opened a Google drawing. So to do that, you can actually just go to drawings.google.com because what I wanted to do was add my own text to that picture. So I went to drawings.google.com. I threw my picture in here. So I did insert, image, upload from computer. And it starts on my desktop for me. So right there, I've got my Thanksgiving by the numbers and I clicked open and then I resized to fill up the box. And then all I did here was I did insert text box and I resized my text box to fit the white blank space on my Google drawing. And then I typed in my clue, which in this case was how many years passed between the first Thanksgiving, which was listed here in 1621, and its recognition as a federal and legal holiday. So even though in 1863, President Lincoln established Thanksgiving as an annual holiday, if I looked at my infographic carefully, I saw that Congress decided that the 4th Thursday in November will be Thanksgiving Day, which they make a federal and legal holiday in 1941. So this just requires whoever's doing my breakout to subtract 1621 from 1941. And that'll give me my answer to my first lock. So then I come over here and what I did was I inserted a question. I did lock number 1. I changed it to short answer, which it's automatically doing for me because I make breakouts so often. And I just copied my link up here at the top. And then when I paste my link, I'm always doing required. I click on my 3 dots. I add in my description. So remember up here in my title and description, I put use the Google drawing linked under lock number 1 to find the code to unlock the first lock. So I have my directions there. So when I come down to my locks description, all I have to do is enter the link to my Google drawing. And it will hyperlink that when you view the form as somebody filling out the form. Now, one of my handy dandy tricks that I show my teachers is when I paste my link, if I want it to not be editable, you just erase up to the E of the word edit and you type in the word copy. And that will force whoever views this to make a copy of the form. Now, my correct answer was 320. So I need to change this to number equal to, they're going to have to type in that exact number, 320. And I always like including a custom error text so that kids can see what they did wrong. I'm going to copy what I had here. And then I'm going to paste it in my custom error text. It says still locked. Did you read the clue carefully and subtract to find the number of years? ? Okay. And then I just realized that I actually forgot to share the editable link at first. So, to share the copyable link. So I'm going to actually delete that one. So now I've got my copy link. I've got number equal to 320, still locked. Did you read the clue carefully? And then it shows them I need to add a section. I'm going to section 3, Thanksgiving myths busted. And so for this one, I decided to do an Edpuzzle video using a video that I actually found on YouTube. So here I went in, I created my Edpuzzle video. I'm not going to go through how to make the Edpuzzle video only because I might be close to running out of time. And if you have questions about Edpuzzle, I already have a recording, some other diffs that work with me, and I created a PD and PJ site, and we already have an Edpuzzle recording. So please feel free to include that in your email if you'd like a walkthrough of how to create an Edpuzzle. So once I'm done with my Edpuzzle, I just click Assign, and I'm going to select this public link here, copy my link, and then I'm going to come back. So I put my directions here, watch the Edpuzzle video linked under lock number 2 and answer the questions as the video pauses. Use the answer to the last question to unlock the second lock. So here I've got number equal to, because my answer to the last question was actually a number. It was 1864. I've got my clues, and then here I just pasted my Edpuzzle link that I pulled directly from Edpuzzle. And then I thought I was a little nervous about putting the third lock on there, so you have to let me know if you made it through the third lock or not in the 10-minute time frame. Thought the first one was kind of simple. I knew the Edpuzzle was 3.5 minutes, but I was hoping, you guys would get through it quickly. So I went to section 4, and I used this article on pardoning the turkeys from the White House. So here I did include my question in my description. So once again, we're selecting description and response validation. So if I were to set up a new question, I would make sure that it's short answer. I'm going to require the question. I'm going to select description because that's where I'm going to throw my hyperlink to my puzzle. I'm going to select response validation. I put in lock number 3 as my title because I've got instructions up here under my section. My description is my link. So in this case, I'll just copy everything that I put here. So where do pardoned turkeys end up? Make sure you pluralize your answer and use all caps. And there's my link to my White House history article. In this case, it's text. And I'm going to do contains. And my text, remember I said to do it in all caps and pluralized. So I've got farms, and I'm going to put still locked as my error text, which is what it says if they got it wrong. Still locked. Did you remember to pluralize and write in all caps? And I always capitalize all caps just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Okay. And then I added my next section, which I always do a you did it section so that you know that you're done. You solve the puzzles and help Tom the turkey escape his fate. So you go team. And then what I did to include my little GIF here, which you might have liked, is I did add image, and I came over to my Giphy website. So just type in giphy.com, and I just typed in turkey. I'm typing faster than my internet is loading right now. So I typed in turkey. And then I've got all of these options for a funny little turkey GIF. In this case, I felt like, the cooked turkey wasn't really the point. We wanted to save him while he was still alive. So I used this little cute cartoon GIF turkey here. And I copied my link. So I'm copying the GIF link. So I clicked copy link and then GIF link. And then when I clicked add image, it'll start on upload for y'all. And I clicked by URL, and then I'm going to paste my URL, and you should see your GIF pop up right here. And then you click insert image, and I've got my image. Oh, it's being slow. Probably because I've already got it there. Oh, there we go. Okay. Go back. All right. So that's how I built the form, how I included all of my hyperlinks in the form. Hopefully you got some good information from that. If you have any additional questions, please send them to me via email, and I'm happy to respond. If you need, live in-person help, just email me and we can try and set up a Google Meet on a time that works for you, and I can help you figure out how to create your breakout form. So if you have any additional questions or comments, please throw them into the Padlet. If you didn't insert your email, which I think I required that question, on the breakout, or you didn't complete the breakout, then you are welcome to put your email in this column on the Padlet, and I can send you a follow-up email for any questions that you might have. And I wanted to say thank you. If you have any questions, here's my email listed again, Eiler@ncmcs.org. And you're welcome to tweet if you enjoyed my session at me. It's at Sarah_Lass. So thanks for all of your time and all of your attention. And I hope you have a great day. And I hope your students love the breakout that you built.